Well, I got back from Biloxi about 6:30 this evening, and turn on the TV, and what I see, a bunch of protesters. What is the reason for this? These are the Democrats protesting, liberals, half of which probably didn't even vote. I just don't get it. If this is the way the liberals are, I certainly am glad they're not in power anymore. Hey, Dana. I sure am glad the liberals aren't in power anymore, because this is just ridiculous. So the person they wanted to win presidency didn't win. Went to Donald John Trump, who will be inaugurated on January 20th, 2017. Obama and Clinton both called for peace. I don't really understand why not even their own people are listening to them. It doesn't make any sense to me. People are rioting in Philadelphia and New York, Dallas, Texas. It's just crazy. Donald Trump had a good message, and that message is peace. He's going to unite the country in ways that it hasn't been in years. A Facebook friend of mine, he asked me if I would support the nominee if it were the other way around, if the Democratic candidate had won presidency, and I told him I'd keep him in suspense. Well, the suspense is over, because I can say clearly, I could have even said it then, no, I will not support the Democratic nominee had she won. I didn't support the last two elected officials, and I wouldn't have supported her. But I support the Republican president-elect 100%. He's the only one that could do anything. The Democratic candidate was corrupt. She was a liar. She's got a lot of stuff to answer for. Loretta Lynch, she's got a lot of stuff to answer for. President Obama himself has a lot of stuff to answer for. I don't know which direction this country is going to go in, but I know that it's going to be a whole lot better under the president we're going to have come January 20th. And whereas the Republican nominee wanted to go to war with Russia, which could lead us out into an all-out nuclear war, I think it's a little better to be friendly with places like Russia, who probably overpower us 10-1 maybe. I don't know. Nobody wins a nuclear war. The Democratic nominee didn't understand this, and that's why she lost. I knew this. Thank you, Dana. I knew this whenever he announced he was going to run for president back in, what was it, January or June 15th of last year, 2015. I said, this is somebody that can shake up the system. He's the kind of person we need. And I'm glad that he is the president-elect. I'm glad that Hillary was gracious enough to concede the election to him. That shows character. It doesn't mean she doesn't have a lot to answer for. She belongs in prison. But I don't really think the WikiLeaks, the FBI investigation, I don't think any of that played a lot into this presidential race. I believe most of it, people already had made up their minds who they were going to vote for. The election was pretty much done when Donald Trump stepped in. He come in with these ideas that everybody said was crazy at the time. And then everybody started following. They were going Trump 2.0 on everything. I mean, if Trump had never mentioned illegal immigration, it never would have even been brought up in this election cycle. The Democratic nominee, she never even brought up any kind of policies that she was going to do. Her whole campaign was based on tearing down President-elect Trump. That was it. Donald Trump had no scandals during the entire race. He had scandals that were from back before he was trying to run for president, stuff from 11 years ago. The naughty word scandal. I don't believe that that had any bearing on the case for Donald Trump. I mean, it shows he won. Hillary Clinton, on the other hand, she deleted 33,000 emails that were under subpoena from the House committee. How do you do that? It doesn't make any sense. If she had won this election, we wouldn't have had a country. Now at least we have a fighting chance. The big thing that a lot of people talked about was Trump's relationship with Russia, his relationship with Putin, which Trump had to deny. And at the time, because it was a divisive subject. But I honestly don't think that Trump having a relationship with Russia or Putin is necessarily a bad thing. I'd rather know your enemy than to not know your enemy. What's wrong with being diplomatic toward these people? I mean, you've got Joe Biden going on Meet the Press saying we're going to start covert cyber attacks against Russia. That's asking for war. And does he not know the meaning of the word covert? The first thing you do is you don't go on live television and tell everybody what you're going to do. I mean, that's just basic rules. Obama out campaigning for Hillary on our plane, which is Air Force One, using our fuel and doing all this while we're paying him. That's not, that should never be right. There is a law, but it doesn't prohibit a sitting president from campaigning for another presidential candidate. But there is a law prohibiting him from using a government vehicle to do that campaigning. Air Force One is our plane. It's not his. The fuel that is on that plane is our fuel. We pay for it through our taxes. Plus, we're paying him for his time. We're paying his mother-in-law a pension. No, his mother a pension for babysitting the kids. Because she's like a live-in nanny. So now she's going to get a pension that we're going to be paying her the rest of her life for watching the Obama children. Michelle Obama, she had like 22 assistants. What did they do? Who needs 22 assistants? As President Trump said, or President-elect Trump, soon to be President Trump, the 45th President of the United States, he said drain the swamp, which is exactly what needs to happen. You've got congressmen, you've got senators that have been sitting in power for 20, 30, 40 years sometimes. They're too old. They should be retired. Why are they still there? Trump owes nobody anything, but he wants to help the American people. Case closed. Hillary owes everybody everything. That is why she did not win the election. She did win the popular vote, but by a very slim margin. And Donald beat her handily in the Electoral College. But popular vote doesn't really mean anything. I mean, it was only a few hundred votes. So I don't see why all these people are out there protesting. It doesn't make any sense to me. What good is it going to do? If they didn't like the way things were going, they should have went out and voted. Because, like I said, I bet half of them didn't even go vote. Probably not even registered to vote. Of course, I'm sure a lot of deceased people did go out and vote, but even that couldn't sway the popular opinion of Trump. This was a movement. A lot of people call it the Brexit effect, but I don't really consider this a Brexit effect. I think Donald Trump, I think he had his pulse on the American people. He knew what the American people needed. This was a revolution. He won in a landslide, too. Hillary didn't stand a chance once they called North Carolina. Soon after North Carolina, I believe, Florida was called, and then Ohio. In Ohio, that's John Kasich's home state. He was one of the last two challengers Trump had during the primary. Him and Ted Cruz, they just would not give up. Ted Cruz finally came back to Trump at the end and campaigned hard for Trump. which is what any good Republican should do. What did John Kasich do? He went out there and went and voted and wrote a write-in of John McCain, someone who isn't even running. Mitt Romney had his hands in the election, trying to spoil it for Trump with a candidate under the independent ticket named Evan McMullin. And he did come close to winning in Utah, according to the polls, which were totally unreliable. Trump won Utah in a landslide, so McMullin is finished. He was hoping that he could win Utah. Neither Hillary nor Trump could get to 270, and then it would shift to the House to decide who would become president. Which, unless the House is just dead set against Donald Trump, they would have sided with him anyway, making this maneuver by Mitt Romney just stupid. Mitt Romney was a sore loser back in, when was it, 2012? Because I believe John McCain ran in 2008. Obama's was out campaigning for Hillary because he wanted his legacy upheld. Legacy of what? Running up the national debt twice as high as it was? Obamacare premiums skyrocketing? There's no legacy there to speak of. Said, oh, she's the first woman president. She's going to be the first woman president, as she says she's going to shatter the glass ceiling, becoming the first woman president. Obama campaigned on that, saying that if a guy didn't vote for Hillary, that they're sexist. That's the biggest load of horse crap I've ever heard. He told African Americans if you didn't vote for Hillary, he would consider it a personal insult to him. Really? I consider Obama a personal insult to me. I didn't vote for him either time. I was willing to give him a benefit of the doubt in 08, I will say. But once I was in the, well, actually before I went to the polling place, I guess the turning point for me was when John McCain picked Sarah Palin as his running mate. I thought, yeah, I could vote for John McCain. He's kind of old. But Sarah Palin's young. She's got a good head on her shoulders. And if something, God forbid, had happened to John McCain, she could take over as president. I wouldn't have a problem with it. She would have been the one to shatter that glass ceiling that Hillary was so proud of. Of course, nothing did happen to John McCain. In fact, he won his Senate seat back in, what was it, Arizona, where he's from? I can't remember, but he's another one of those politicians who's been in Washington way too long. Needs to get out. Hillary Clinton, she's taken money from so many different governments, Saudi Arabia, Qatar. These are some horrible, horrible people. And she accepts money from them. They're going to come back asking her for a favor if she had won the president. If she had won the presidency. Whereas Donald Trump, he doesn't owe anyone anything. He owes the American people what he promised, which I'm sure he's going to deliver on. Now, as far as building the wall between Mexico and the U.S., I don't know. I think he's going to make a go of it. As far as Mexico paying for it, it was never like Mexico was going to sit down and write a check and say payment for wall, which is what a lot of people say was going to happen. He was going to take it out in trade, the trade deficit between us and Mexico. We have, I forgot what he said, 65% trade deficit with Mexico. Well, he was going to start putting a tariff on stuff if they wanted to bring it into the country to sell. That's what was going to pay for the wall, which I'm sure is going to go somewhere. I'm sure that wall is going to be built. I don't know to what extent. I mean, I'm just a guy talking about it that's been following this election from day one. And I've not been following it. I have been following it on TV, but TV don't tell you the truth. All of the stuff TV tells you are these polls that were obviously not right, because every single poll that I saw had Donald Trump losing, which obviously didn't happen. Mainstream media is not your friend. The wave of the future is YouTube. There are several YouTube channels out there that report things the way they are. They report on the WikiLeaks. But as I said, I don't really think that WikiLeaks had a whole lot of impact on the election, because most of it was Podesta's emails, and I got tired of seeing Podesta's emails, to tell you the truth. I was hoping they would release some kind of big, gigantic bombshell, but never happened. I mean, there was some pretty interesting stuff come out. Donna Brazil definitely belongs in prison. She giving questions to the or getting questions from the CNN that the moderators are going to ask Hillary Clinton when she's in a debate with Bernie Sanders. That's corruption to the nth degree. She's denied it on many occasions, and yet email after email after email comes out saying she did it. Of course, CNN fired her. The most reliable thing have been the Project Veritas videos. Shows how they colluded with Clinton to disrupt Trump rallies, in cases starting fights at Trump rallies, making it look like Trump is violent. His rhetoric's causing all this violence at his rallies, which is just complete and utter nonsense. There's just a whole lot I've been wanting to talk about for a while, and I just thought I'd come on here and talk to whoever wanted to listen. I know I've had a couple viewers in the room. I've had a few likes. So I appreciate those who've watched, and I hope that more people will seek out YouTube to find out their news. Especially stay away from networks like CNN and MSNBC, ABC, NBC, CBS, all that is for the birds. Some things on Fox are okay. The best one on Fox is the O'Reilly Factor. I know that some people have posted some negative stuff about O'Reilly on some conservative people have posted some negative stuff about O'Reilly on Facebook, but I've not seen any of that. O'Reilly seems to be pretty straightforward with people. He doesn't get down into the weeds with people. I'm happy that O'Reilly is doing this. Hannity, he swings for Trump, so you got to take what he says. Everything he says is going to favor Donald Trump. He's not going to say anything against him. Megyn Kelly, she needs to be fired. I mean, that's just plain and simple. Brit Hume was pretty fair on the record during this election cycle. As some of you may know, the 7 p.m. time slot is now going to be called Tucker Carlson tonight. Tucker Carlson's taking it over starting Monday. And I think he's going to do a fair job. Brett Baier does a fair job on Special Report. But I always double check anything they say with what people are reporting on YouTube. And there's a few things you need to stay clear of on YouTube too. There's one called the Next News Network, and I don't really trust what I've heard on there. Anthony Brian Logan, he has a really good YouTube channel. You should check it out sometime. It's a very informative YouTube channel. Mark Dice is pretty informative, but he's sort of a comedy guy. He does Man on the Street Mondays videos every Monday, which is neat. I like Mark Dice pretty well. The best as far as this election had went, and I'm sure he's going to continue it on, is Bill Steele. He used to be a reporter for some newspaper, but now he just freelances on YouTube. And that is his only job. He searches up these news stories. Another thing to note about people like Bill Steele, if he misreports something, hey, he comes on there right away. He'll pull the story and then he'll explain why he pulled the story. Because he realized that, somebody threw something fake at him. So he'll delete the story and start anew. Bill Steele is a really good resource. The Young Turks are to a certain degree. There's a guy named Jordan on there. He's pretty fair. There's a guy named Chink on there. He's not. I mean, he's totally in the bag for Hillary. He has a segment called Loser Donald, which obviously he was wrong because Donald didn't lose. But they report things the way it is too, but with a liberal swing. Except for Jordan. Jordan just reports things the way they are. I'm not sure what his last name is. I wish he would just get his own channel so it's not just lumped in with TYT, the Young Turks. Who else is there? Some black guy. He's pretty good. That's the name of his channel, Some Black Guy. He is a pretty good reporter. There's another one called Mundane Matt. He's okay, and he also has integrity too. If he puts a story up that's founded later to not be true, he will retract the story and he'll explain why he retracted it. In fact, he just done that the week before last, I think. He reported about the Hillary Clinton supporters beating up the homeless woman protecting the Trump sign on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. I mean, that was just a despicable act. And Monday Matt put up a video saying that that could have been, that homeless woman could have been a plant. And then I woke up the next morning and I see on the story, while I pulled my story about the homeless woman on his page, and I watched it. It was just about a minute and a half video, and he explained that they had actually found the woman, and she really is a homeless woman named Denise Scott. And the Hillary supporters did really beat her. So he is pretty fair. He reports a lot on games, but he uses a lot of foul language, as does some black guy. There are several other channels. Once you get started looking on YouTube, it's like going down the rabbit hole. You get suggestions over on the right-hand side, and start clicking on them. That's where I found most of them. MTV News is not reliable at all. They've got a racist show called Decoded, and no, just stay away from Francesca Ramsey. If it says Decoded, don't watch it. Unless it's somebody making fun of a Decoded video. And then they're pretty fun to watch. But yeah, YouTube's the wave of the future. Mainstream media, they have just totally messed up in this election cycle, to where you can't trust anything they say, especially CNN. CNN, you can't hardly understand what they're talking about anyway, because they'll have 6, 7, 8 people on there at one time, and they're all yelling at each other. And like, what did he say? What'd she say? We all need to just talk one at a time here, and before long it just digresses into everybody talking at one time. And you can't get a word in edgewise. I just find it rather odd. MSNBC, they've got some really real winners on there. Chris Matthews, Rachel Maddow, Brian Johnson, who lost his job with NBC for lying about his combat reporting, which is another thing Hillary Clinton lied about too. She said she flew into, where was it, Bosnia or something, under heavy sniper fire, and then a video surfaced of her just getting off the plane with Chelsea, and all was good, nothing going on, just walking along chit-chatting. But I just thought I'd take a few minutes to give you my take on what this crazy election has been like. And if you like this video, feel free to share it across the Facebook platform or wherever you want to share it. It's just one man talking about it. You know, I've been a Trump supporter since he announced he was running for president. And now that he's President-elect Trump, I look forward to seeing what he does with the screwed up mess Obama has left him in. If anyone can straighten it out, I believe it's Mr. Trump. So I want to thank the people who did watch. I think I had 2 or 3 viewers here at one time. Don't have any right now, but I hope people watch this video later on. And kind of went a little longer than what I had expected, but got to rambling on a bit. So I think I'll just end this right now because I am tired. I drove all the way from Biloxi to here this morning. Left down there, I guess it was about 9 o'clock. our time. They're an hour behind us, but it was like 9 o'clock our time. We got in about, like I said, 6:30, so that was moving. Had the cruise control wide open. It's all interstate, so saw a couple Trump signs on cars on the way back. I didn't see anything on the way down, but that's neither here nor there. I'll talk to you later. I may do some more of these videos if people like them. If you like what you heard, let me know, and I may do more videos later on. But for right now, good night. See you later.